win against Virginia Tech in a game that Boston College did not have a shot in the first 70 minutes of that game and found 3 goals in the last 20 minutes to win by a 3-1 final score. Their first ACC win in a couple of years. They're now 2-1 in the ACC, same record as the Seminoles. And we appreciate you joining us here on this Saturday night. Florida State is in the maroon kits today. Boston College in the home white. And first opportunity, Sarai Costello will allow that ball to go out over the end line. Take a look at what Florida State has with Dudley, Simmons, and Washington up front. Addie Todd once again gets a start in goal. This team's been always very good defensively. This year, 8th best, a very good offensive team. 3rd best nationally. Boston College, top 25 offense. You see the extra forwards in the starting lineup today. You basically have 4 of them plus Sapienza, who kind of is in that top midfield spot. Boston College, 2 notes, will be without Bella Douglas today and without Sid Segala. I feel like possession in a game like this, even early on, can tell us a lot about how it's going to play out.
Exactly, and if you're both teams, you're going to want to get on the ball early. You want to keep it and impose yourself on the game. You have a Florida State team that is in very uncharted territory, coming off 2 back-to-back losses. And this is a tough BC Eagles side that has been able to grind some results in the ACC this year.
Good pressure from Ella Richards, this Eagles team pressing quite a bit more than they have in years past. Under first-year head coach Chris Watkins. Over the top. Over the head of Goldthwait, and it lands nicely. Taylor Huff, who we talked about momentarily off the top of our show, could not get it beyond Goldthwait, the transfer from Wake Forest.
And expect Huff to get on the ball early and often for this Florida State team. She's the catalyst in the midfield. She'll get the ball in the midfield, and also on set pieces, she will be the one over the ball, looking to either create for her teammates or go for goal herself.
Back for Heather Gilchrist, who's been a staple on this back line for Florida State through the years. Gilchrist is the main center back, along with Mimi Van Zanten, the sophomore All-ACC freshman team last year on her left. And Cameron Simmons on the right. Out of bounds here for a Florida State throw.
And this Florida State team is such an interesting mix of players. You have multiple starters from their national championship team last year. You have multiple transfers coming into the fray as well, and a talented group of freshmen that really impose themselves early on in their Florida State careers.
Yeah, the 7 transfers came in with a combined 325 starts in college. And the Eagles' pressure forcing Florida State to work through the back line, which they're certainly okay with. Addie Todd couldn't get it beyond Goldthwait. And it was the top-ranked freshman class in the country by Top Drawer Soccer coming in. Here's Dudley, good setup. Washington knocked it off of Amalia Dre, who's done a really good job as a freshman center back, along with the veteran Grace Corder. Both new center backs for BC this year. Grad student from Gonzaga and the freshman Dre. This is over the top, nobody home there for Boston College. BC throw from the near side. Boston College has been very good on this field this year, 7-1-1, kind of reestablishing that home field advantage. Beckman. Dre got a piece of it. Boston College willing to let their center backs jump up at times. Here's Vivka Villabrandt.
And early on, we haven't seen either team really been able to get too much of possession yet. 2 teams just feeling each other out. But the way BC plays in their system, you have those 4 high forwards who are really out there to press the defense and get in behind. So that leaves a lot of room in the midfield for maybe other teams to get more sort of possession.
Sapienza gets the ball forward, but there's Gilchrist to defend it well. It's been interesting how Chris Watkins has used his forward group this year for Boston College. There's really 6 of them you could talk about. Segala, obviously, they don't have tonight, but Andy Barth also as well. And for a while earlier in the season, it was almost like a 3-person line change up front. Now starting to see a little bit more with 4 of them out on the pitch at the same time. Richard staying up front and Peltier moving off to the right side. It's been interesting how he's matched that up. And it's produced another good offensive team.
And I think that just mirrors exactly the way he wants to play. He wants to play quick. He wants to play fast. He wants to get good shooting opportunities for his team. And when you have so many talented players that can not only start but come in, it makes you let the players know that they can go, because you will have players coming in to give them a break.
Basically, his entire career as a head coach at Gonzaga and then a longtime assistant coach with BYU, his teams have been a top 25 offense, and BC is once again there this year, coming into play this weekend, ranked as the 25th best offense in the country, 2.3 goals per game. Costello will work it back through Villabrandt. Trying to find Peltier on a lead ball right along the sideline, and that is out for a Florida State throw. Here's that pressure that we talked about in Streisig with the takeaway. Throws it across, open net, good play, Gilchrist. And then Streisig didn't have the angle. Could only cut it against the side of the net.
And fantastic pressure there from the Eagles, just trying to figure out where they can press, where they can create chances. And it's Streisig doing so well, gets 2 opportunities, but just off the side netting.
Excellent play to take it away. And then, I mean, that's a veteran center back in Heather Gilchrist, who has done this for a long time in her 3rd season as the main center back with Florida State. And she makes that play and keeps this 0-0. Another chance for BC. This time, Addie Todd is on the back end of it. Well, the press definitely having an effect here in the early going.
Yeah, exactly, and this is exactly what Coach Watkins wants. He wants his team high octane, putting players in front of the ball, pressing Florida State. Florida State is a team that likes to play. They have 3 center backs on the field that are fantastic with the ball at their feet. You saw Simmons there get the ball caught a little bit, have the giveaway. So that's exactly what BC wants. They want these Florida State defenders to feel confident, to feel comfortable, so they can press them and win the ball back.
And you can see what Florida State wants to do. Work back, keep possession, allow themselves to reset. And they do so once again here. Dan Santon. Some space out there. Costello steps up. And now Paige Peltier gets behind, but couldn't quite find Ella Richards.
And if you're Florida State right now, this is when you need your center midfielder players to get on the ball. You see Beckman, Dantas, and Huff there. They're getting pressed so much in the back line. Those 3 center midfielders need to find the pockets of space where they can get the ball and connect with Dudley up top.
Sophia Lowenberg comes away with it. And a foul. Foul goes against Boston College there. Lowenberg for the follow on the play with Jordan Dudley coming back. Thought they were going to get this for that left arm being extended, but they get, you see Lowenberg kind of, her arm got up in the air and ends up unintentionally tripping Dudley.
And Lowenberg in that center defensive midfield position, a big game for her, only her 4th start of the season coming in for Douglas. She has such an important role shielding that back line. You see the way BC likes to send players up with those 4 forwards. It is so important to have a defender right there in front of the defense.
And this is what can happen, though. Some numbers back for Florida State. Ball goes across, nobody on the back end of it. Dudley was there in the middle. Nobody was there on that right side for the run by Washington.
You see here, BC just caught up a little bit high on the back foot. Corder can't get near Washington, and she does have Dudley in the middle, but just a little bit too far ahead.
So goal kick for Villabrandt. 10 minutes into this first half. It comes out to the side. Florida State to throw.
And one space that Florida State can really exploit BC is on the wings. With BC having their two wingers so high up the field, Florida State employs wingbacks in EY and Nguyen. So this means that if they get to those areas where they can push up and be 1v1 versus the BC outside backs, that's going to create overloads on the wings for them.
Nowhere really to go on that throw. So it's Florida State to throw right in front of the Boston College bench. Van Zanten stepped up again, it was taken away, and Dre goes over top for Aislinn Streisig. 8 points this year for the transfer from Alabama a couple of years ago. Long trying to find Richards. Gilchrist so good and just allows that ball to go out over the end line for a goal kick. Ryan Pensky, who came in as after the head coach at Tennessee, took over an elite program and has kept it there, winning the national championship last year. The Seminoles going 22-0-1 a season ago and beating their now conference mates Stanford 5-1 in the title game for their 4th national championship. And we talked about this 2-game losing streak that Florida State is on. Remember, it's not just in the context of this season. It ended Florida State's 32-match unbeaten streak. But they've now lost 2 in a row.
And not just losing 2 in a row, but losing 2 conference games in a row is so huge in terms of implications for that ACC tournament. Only 6 teams can make the tournament, and yes, Florida State has a great RPI, so they're likely into the tournament no matter what happens. But it's all about having confidence and momentum heading into the NCAA tournament. And having that long couple weeks break in between games is not great for any team with title aspirations.
Ella Richards, good work. But Simmons stays on the ball, now strikes it, comes and takes it away. Aislinn Streisig with Gilchrist closest to her. Not much on that shot. Didn't quite have the help maybe you needed, so takes that shot perhaps a touch earlier than you might want. But how about the work for Boston College here to come and take the ball away?
And that's a couple times now where Simmons has been caught on the ball. She's one of those 3 center backs in the back line, has also played a lot of attack in her career coming over from Tennessee. So you have her back there, someone that is good on the ball, that is comfortable. But you're seeing a couple times now where BC's finding a lot of success pressuring her and getting on the attack from that.
Grace Corder tried to step up, and Sarai Costello comes back in and is called for the foul.
And Florida State breaking on the attack there. Costello just having to make the foul to make sure that there's no danger. Jordan Dudley is a fantastic player, especially when she's on the open field.
So Florida State off the restart of play. Over top, looking for Washington. Shots are 2-1 in favor of BC here in the early going. 1 shot on target belongs to the Eagles, that last Streisig look. And this is back for Addie Todd.
Page 17.
Florida State last lost on this field in 2018 with Boston College pulling the upset on the way to their most recent NCAA tournament berth. More pressure on here. Streisig got a piece of it against Gilchrist, but she does settle. I think one thing that I kind of love at the beginning of the game, and not every game is the same, obviously, so it's not apples to apples, but just taking the Virginia Tech game, which was the last game that Boston College played on this pitch, we told you the Eagles didn't have a shot in that game until the 70th minute. Virginia Tech did a pretty good job with possession and controlling the game, but it was almost holding back too much, whereas this game, BC's done a really good job being aggressive and trying to play their game and not just allowing Florida State to play that they want to play.
And that's the style of play that Coach Watkins wants BC to play, but it's definitely also not lost in him and his team that this is a vulnerable Florida State team coming off of 2 losses. This is something that no one has seen for multiple years now, so they see blood in the water, and they see a team that they can possibly take advantage of.
Chris Watkins talks so much about that press and trying to take the ball away in spots where he said most goals are scored within 3 passes and then shot. So if you can take the ball away in spots where you're able to do that, like this for Florida State, and Dudley, who does cycle back for the moment, Wynn chips it across. Nobody really there on the back end.
And those are the spots where Dudley can be so dangerous. You saw the little turn there she had to set up the 1v1 opportunity for herself. Couldn't quite get around the defender, but those quick little touches are exactly what makes her so special.
Jordan Dudley, the ACC Freshman of the Year last year. Offensive Most Outstanding Player of the NCAA tournament. Had 4 goals and 2 assists last year's NCAA tournament run. Also had a goal against Boston College earlier in the season.
And so many fantastic attacking players on that Florida State team that won the national championship, and Dudley's ability to come in as a freshman and just impact right away was so important for them. Having a freshman not just be the most outstanding offensive player, but to be a first-team All-American as well. And she was definitely missed when she was out at the U20 World Cup.
Yeah, the U.S. players for Florida State missed 6 games, basically. You also had Dantas, who has played for Brazil, missed 3.
And for these players as well, it's very interesting to have them come back, and you see different coaches employ different tactics in getting these players back. Because while they did play a lot of games over there while they were in Colombia and were staying fit, it's very difficult to come into a team that you haven't been with for a couple weeks, different players settling into different positions. So you see Dantas, this is her first start since coming back, obviously with 2 losses, maybe getting her back in. Dudley was put in right away, but you have a talented freshman in Taylor Suarez, who also had a fantastic tournament in Colombia, scored a couple goals before leaving. So how much are we going to see her kind of trying to ease her way back into the lineup as well?
She had a goal in the first game back against Clemson, a 3-0 win on the 28th. Florida State's most recent win. Corner kick, first one of the game for Florida State. And that's out on the near side. Florida State was asking for a handball, but it was ruled that the BC player had her hands at her side, so no call.
Hey, good job, Knowles. Great job.
Florida State averages about 6.5 corner kicks per game, which is 5th most in the ACC. Boston College is tops in that category, 4th nationally with 8.2 corners per game, and that speaks a lot to Chris Watkins' style that he's brought to BC this year. Good play by Goldthwaite.
And we're starting to see now Florida State imposing themselves in the game a little bit more, getting away from those defensive mistakes, getting their players high up the field, using Dudley and Washington up top to create opportunities.
Good header by Corder. Wynn tries to service. Washington, maybe too strong on the touch, does come to the middle. Dudley was trying to get there, and it squirts out for Paige Peltier. And the grad transfer from Notre Dame. Lead ball for Ava Lung. Tied up with Van Zanten, who got to it first for Florida State. Ball skips through a little behind. Oh boy, Sapienza was nearly there. Coming in on a good run. Off the shoulder of Dudley. little bit too far for Peltier. That one goes over the end line for a goal kick. As crowds come out here on a Saturday night.
And not every day you get the #1 team from last year coming in, a historical program, national champions. But BC in position as ever to have an upset just as they did in 2018.
Just in the last week here, we've had Florida State, the defending champs from last year. You had Pitt, who's the #1 team in the country in volleyball. You had Wisconsin, the #1 team in women's hockey, all in the last week. And it's amazing to see how many young kids or high school teams come out to see those teams, to watch those teams play, as you say.
And that's one of the best parts about college soccer, just seeing the young kids coming to the games, aspiring to be in this position one day, and just how the players on the field can inspire them.
So Ran EY will go over for the second corner kick of the game for Florida State. A little bit more of the sustained possession here for Florida State than we're used to after the Eagles had some chances back the other way a bit earlier. EY going back post. Dudley was there. Still alive at the edge of the box here. Maybe a little miscommunication there between Dantas and Simmons as to who is going to go after that ball. Eagles do get it out of the box for the moment. Sapienza punts it across midfield. Knocked out off Streisig.
And I think one thing that can't be understated as well for this BC team is how experienced they are. 8 out of the 11 players starting tonight, either seniors or grad students, so they are not fazed by this moment. They have been in games like this before, playing the ACC, playing in other conferences and transferring in. So they see a team like Florida State that, yes, they've had success in the past, but they've been around. They know exactly what it takes to get results against tough teams.
This is actually one of the things that Chris Watkins told us at the start of the year. It's kind of normally you think a new coach coming in, installing a new system, naturally you think of a very young team, but it's actually next year's team in year 2 that's going to be very young, because you have all of these seniors and grad students who are going to phase out of the program here. But it's allowed him to implement his style, as you said, with a very veteran team early. Andy Barth comes in for Paige Peltier, first sub of the day.
And that experience you see from the older players also shows why he's been able to implement the system so quick. These are high IQ, high-level players that can get information, implement it quickly. So he's been able to really get them in and embody what he needs very quickly.
Already a 7-win turnaround for last year for Boston College. Villabrandt well out of her net, grabs it ahead of Dudley with 22-21. Remaining in this first half of a game that is still 0-0, BC and 22nd ranked Florida State, the defending national champions, who dropped, as we said, outside the top 15 of the polls for the first time since 2011 this week. It was 159 consecutive weeks, a minimum of the top 15. The last 4 ACC tournament champs with some work to do to get back into that tournament at 2-2-1 in the conference. Here's Wynn, knocked off Goldthwait, and a corner kick coming up.
And that's a battle we've seen a couple times now, with Wynn getting the ball a lot on the wings, but Goldthwait, another one of those experienced players, the junior from Durham, North Carolina, getting out to it, and she's up for the battle so far tonight.
Transferred from Wake Forest, played just 3 games last year, did not play as a freshman, so comes here, gets a chance at a bigger opportunity, and has taken advantage of it in a big way. It really liked that deep post on the corner. It's still loose in the box and up over the net, which will lead to another corner.
And great ball in from EY, and looks like Villabrandt got to it first, but just bobbles it, and a lot of bodies in there. Looks like it was Streisig that just got enough of it and out for another corner.
Another corner coming in here again towards, they've gone deep with all these corners so far, trying to find Dudley. towards that back line.
When it comes to a corner kick, it is all about the service, and we've seen consistent service so far from EY on that side, getting the ball into the dangerous areas where the BC defenders are forced to make plays.
So after a couple of those corners, officially just one shot was given to Florida State through that whole sequence. So shots are even 2 apiece. 20 minutes left here in this first half. BC and Florida State. Sapienza off the turnover. Seminoles take it right back quickly the other way. And out for Boston College throw.
And if you're Florida State, you still want to get the ball to Taylor Huff a little bit more. We haven't called her name too much. She's found it hard to get the ball at her feet and create plays. A lot of the creation we've seen from Florida State has been through the wings, but they have such a talented player in the midfield that can really create the game if she gets on the ball.
Taylor Huff, team leader in goals, assists, and points. Streisig tried to get back through. Wynn got enough of a piece of it. Win on it once again. Here's Huff. It's Washington against Costello. Washington goes towards the goal line against Costello. And Quarter knocks it out. Good work there by Sarai Costello.
And you have the battle, the freshman against the senior, and Costello is just using her experience to shield out Washington there. And that's another tough battle for her out there, but so experienced, has started virtually every game since she stepped on campus, and she's had so many of these battles over the years.
Quarter coming in as a grad student from Gonzaga, where she played for Chris Watkins the last few years. Costello as a veteran over there. And then you have Dre, who's the freshman alongside them. Once again, it's Todd who has to force it to midfield. And Dre will work back for her keeper.
Drop it in half, Soph. Drop it in half, Soph. Hey, right shoulder here, Cam. Good, Soleil. Good, Dodge.
Turnover to the midfield for Sapienza. Ella Richards. See what Boston College is trying to do with that ball. They've not been able to get it through these last couple of opportunities.
And BC has truly done a great job all night of winning the ball back from Florida State. It's interesting because Florida State has more numbers in the midfield. You see at times when BC has the ball, there are 5 Florida State midfielders surrounding just Lowenberg in there. But Florida State have found a way whenever they do drive the ball into the midfield, BC is swarming them and winning the ball back. And now the question is, how can they get these balls through to the forwards, to the corners, where they can get on the ball?
There's Ella Richards moving a bit gingerly there. Which is why play was stopped for the moment. She said she poked herself in the eye, I think is what I heard. Florida State set to bring in 3 subs on the next stoppage. Off of Dre and out for a throw. The Seminoles will sub. Brianna Hudson is into the game, as well as Marianella Jimenez and Ashlyn Puerta.
Jimenez, another one of those players that went to the Under-20 World Cup, represented Venezuela, so another player that's been back for a little bit now and looking to really help Florida State get back on track here.
7th game of the season after missing time, as you said. Also has had starts for the Venezuelan senior national team. So much talent on this Florida State roster. Ava Lung forces that ball out wide.
And those are the moments where BC is so successful, seeing where they can press, where there's maybe a small touch that goes a little bit too far from the Florida State defenders. And if you're Coach Penske at halftime, you're telling your center backs, yes, we want to keep playing our style of play, but you need to be cautious on these touches because BC is taking advantage of them over and over again this half.
Got a push on Taylor Huff. 2/3 of the way through this first half. Still no score, Boston College and Florida State. Puerta. Here's a little bit of room for Huff. First time we've said that in a while. I'll work wide for Hudson. Goldthwaite was a little slow to get up on the near side of the field, and now after just making contact with the ball there is going to go down and may have to come out of the game here.
And it was a tough tackle on Dudley on her. Looks like she got the ball, but just very hard between the two players coming together.
So on this side of the field, I think it was actually the second step. And then credit to her for getting back into the play as quickly as she did. And we'll see if Boston College wants to sub here, and it looks like they will sub. So freshman Ashley Roberts will come in for Boston College on the injury. Freshman from Victoria, British Columbia. 2 goals in her first season.
And BC moving Roberts up top, and it's Ava Lung who will drop and play left back. Played all over the field during her time at Harvard, so Coach Watkins is having another experienced player who's been in the college game for a long time into the back line to help secure the defense.
Yeah, that's normally Douglas's spot, as we said, who is out today for Boston College. So Goldthwaite was kind of taking over that role. So that is the spot to watch. That ball is too far forward for Hudson. Maybe slightly misplayed by Quarter. But Philip Brandt does get it to center. Streisig couldn't get it through. Too far for Dudley. Good ball up the near side, and that's out off of Florida State. Just on paper, only 2 shots each in this game, only 1 shot on target. Not what maybe would jump off the page with 2 of the best 25 offenses in the country statistically.
But I think we've seen such a fast-paced game so far. Both teams really having a lot of transition opportunities, not really translating to proper goal-scoring opportunities since the early one we saw from Streisig, but just very fast-paced game. And what you're seeing are 2 teams that are going after it and do want to get in the attack and do want to score goals.
Florida State will restart. Both of these teams 2-2-1 in the ACC, which puts them each at 7 points, which is 3 points behind the tie for 6th at the moment. Still a lot of teams in between. Getting into the ACC tournament in this massive field with the additions of Cal, Stanford, and SMU might be as impressive as making the NCAA tournament this year.
And it truly is remarkable the depth of talent in the ACC and just how that translates as well. 8 teams in the top 25, so many talented teams not ranked in that top 25 as well. And it just shows you once again how almost flawless you have to be successful in this league.
There are the ACC teams ranked this week. It's fun, you know, notably one team on that list, Virginia Tech, who is right now second in the ACC standings at 5-1-1. Their only loss was on this field to Boston College a week and a half ago. Nice cut by Dudley. Dudley tried to turn a shot. Quarter got a piece. And Ava Lung knocks it back to center for Streisig. That came up high. And play stops for a moment. Look at the ACC standings at the moment, where Virginia Tech there at 5-1-1. Wake Forest and Virginia Tech, the 2 teams to beat Florida State in this last week. Florida State off the restart. Too far, and that goes out to the near side.
In Florida State, we saw a couple substitutions from them. It seems like since those substitutions, just trying to find their feet again. We saw after a nervy early couple minutes, they settled to the game, started creating some chances down the wings. But since those substitutions are coming in, you try and see them just settling into it a little bit more. And I'm sure Coach Penske's going to want them in these last 10 minutes to get back to creating those chances.
This is off Florida State if it goes out, and in fact, Puerta got tied up with Ava Lung, and it is out off of Puerta.
And Puerta got there first, actually tapped it through the legs of Lung, but Lung went around her, did not touch her. You saw the Florida State coaches thinking maybe there was a foul there, but we'll see what the ref calls.
And it looks like they've actually changed the call. The near side official overruled it, called a foul on the play against Lung. And now the clock stops with 9:20 to go as they get this sorted out. Free kick for Florida State, Cameron Simmons. Chance out wide for EY. Towards the net, the chip is on it. Finds its way, but the flag was up on the near side. May take a look at this to see.
And we'll see what the call is, but initially just great hold-up play by Hudson, the freshman coming in at that striker position. Lays it off for EY. At first I thought maybe she was going for goal for a shot. Plays it back in for Hudson. She did have a step on the defender, but we'll have to see how it looks.
So again, remember the call on the field, which is important here, is offside. Again, it's obviously much more difficult in college where you don't have quite the angles to show you right down the line that you might in the pros. So in some ways, the official on the side is going to have a better look, you would think, than any of the cameras that we're able to show you from our feed. Remember, they have different cameras downstairs, 2 behind the goals and then 1 up top, similar to the one that you're looking at right now. So the one they're going to be looking at is the one behind the net that probably could tell you, but at least to me, it does look like Hudson was out in front of the defenders on that play.
Yeah, and I think that came from that initial hesitation from EY that allowed Hudson to run a little bit ahead of the BC defenders. She was in acres of space, so we'll see whether or not she did time her run. But like you said, at initial glance, it did seem like she was ahead of the defenders. But from our camera angle, we really can't see those nuances.
They do have the ability downstairs with the new kind of AI technology cameras to zoom out as far as possible and change the viewpoint, so you'll be able to see where the official's standing on the near side when that flag goes up. From our cameras, you're just sort of going off positioning there. I mean, again, when you're not right down the line, it's very difficult to see, is Dre in position? You're almost like starting to go off shadows in some ways to see exactly where everybody lines up. It certainly looks like to me she's out front, but we'll see downstairs what the decision is from Catherine McCormick, our referee.
You can always seem to tell by the coaches' reactions. We'll see here. The referee tells them first, and we go from there.
So it's call stands as offside against Florida State.
And with the way VAR is used both in the professional game and with college soccer, if you're overturning a call, you do have to be very certain you have made a mistake. And it was just so close there. Once again, we didn't see the camera angle the ref had, but did seem like Hudson was just slightly offside on that play.
The replay monitor definitely has gotten its money worth over the last 24 hours. Boston College making her second appearance of the season, replacing Streisig. So likely a little more of a defensive posture here. It'll be interesting to see if Lung stays in that left back spot or McNeil, who's more naturally a defender, but at times has played a little bit higher up over the course of this season. Looks like that's where she'll be right now. Hudson tries to play to center. Good job by Quarter, and that does stay in. Lowenberg gives it back to Quarter. Chance from the edge of the box, and that's a foul called on Lung. Good work on Jimenez, sliding the Boston College defense towards the near side, and a dangerous free kick coming up from Florida State.
And shifty play from Jimenez. You see her do a little fake shot, and that just gets Lung in. That's a player who has not played in the defense really at all this season, so just getting advantage of Jimenez there.
So Taylor Huff and ran EY with 7:32 remaining in this first half.
And I would expect Huff to be the one on the ball here. Has been their main set piece taker from free kicks this season. Expect her to goal for goal.
It's Huff. Couldn't quite get it on target.
And Huff almost chips it a little bit, trying to get Villebrandt off and just right over the bar.
Didn't miss by much.
But that is exactly what Coach Penske's going to want from Florida State. They are getting in and around the box. We saw the goal that was offsides. We see Jimenez getting the attack, drawing fouls. This is what he wants from his attacking players, getting in dangerous areas and causing questions for the BC defense.
BC trying to get in behind for the first time in a while. Andy Barth kind of 1-on-2, and the foul goes against Barth.
And that's good defending there from Van Zanten, and a very experienced player at only a sophomore. We saw her come into a starting role last year for Florida State as they won the national championship. She's really taken it up to a next level this year, starting matches, scoring goals, but also being a leader in the defense for them.
Time with Jamaica. at the national team level, played in the U20 CONCACAF for Jamaica last year. Also time in the United States Youth National Team program as well.
And her sister played for Jamaica at the World Cup, so just a fantastic soccer family there.
He also played at Notre Dame. Here's EY. Barth hustling back. Another chance on the service. Quarter is there. Folks, stay with us. Coming one up at the half. It's hopefully taught to both head coaches, and then another edition of Boston College's one-on-one challenge. That's coming up at the half. Hudson got it right back. Hudson working against Quarter. Goes towards the goal line. Ella Richards comes back in. Can't quite clear the box, but came up high on Huff. And Boston College possession, under 5 to go in the first half.
And Hudson's been causing a lot of issues for this BC defense since coming in. 6'2" freshman out of New York, scored a couple goals this season, and you're just seeing her get on the ball in good positions so far.
Villabrandt will restart. So as we talked about, it felt like in the first 10 minutes of this game or so, there were some opportunities for Boston College coming back, using their press. Since then, we've kind of seen a lot of possessions like that, right? The ball's been at this side of the pitch. Florida State's had the majority of the possession for sure, but it has not resulted, as you see, in a ton of shots or a ton of grade A chances in this game. Eagles with the chance back the other way. Ashley Roberts gets behind Gilchrist for the moment. Now Barth. And that's just a good play by Puerta to take her off the ball. A little bit of space for Trey in the middle of the field. Trey continues to step up and will go wide for Costello. Couldn't quite get it to Barth. Ball over top, and it's Sapienza who gets there first for Boston College.
Fantastic work.
One of the captains of the Eagles. That ball stays in on the side for Richards before Florida State takes away. You can see how good Florida State is on those 1v1 situations. Press here from Ava McNeil and nearly took it away. This is where BC had their chances early on press plays like this.
And it's all about picking their chances, seeing where those loose touches come from, and aren't able to get the ball there, but they are just picking their moments to see where they can capitalize.
Dre knocked down from behind.
And we talked about how Hudson has come in and imposed herself in this game, but Dre up for the challenge, the two freshmen going at it, and we'll probably see them in the ACC for years to come.
Yeah. See that left arm got extended a little bit, so a little bit more time down this end, last couple of minutes. With under 2 to go in this first half. 0-0, Boston College and Florida State.
And it's interesting for BC as well. You talk about a couple players missing. Douglas, a big miss for them. You had Goldthwait just go out injured. So you have Ava Lung, who started the game at striker, playing that left back position. She's right here by the bench, and you can hear them coaching her on where to go, where to step, because this is probably an unfamiliar position to her for what she was expected to do coming into the night.
Roberts off the takeaway. Here's Richards. Good work on the ball. There's space for Long, who steps up. Back for Lowenberg. Takes the shot from outside and missed too high.
Good patient buildup from BC. Lung pushing forward, getting on the ball to Lowenberg. We haven't seen her get too far into the attack, but just a little bit under the ball. But if you're Coach Watkins, you're happy about how this first half has played out. You've seen BC not been afraid to really go forward, press Florida State where they need to, and try and create chances of their own.
So we'll see how aggressive Florida State wants to be in the final 35 seconds of this first half. 3 shots now each way. Still, just the one shot on target was that Streisig try from outside the box. Not for lack of pace. Lung knocks it down. Here's Puerta. Lowenberg got over. And the final seconds come off the clock. And end half number 1 at 0-0 between BC and the defending champs.
And good back and forth battle we have here in Newton. You saw BC players forward, and if you're Florida State, I think you see the players are probably going to get a little bit more comfortable trying to minimize those mistakes now that you know exactly what's going to come from BC.
Remember, this is a Florida State team that's number 3 nationally in shots, averaging 22.6 a game. Number 3 nationally in shots on target, averaging more than 11 per game with just 3 shots. Here is Sapienza, gets the half started with a chance from outside the box that missed wide. Anyway, 3rd nationally in shots on goal, 3rd nationally in shots. They've had just 3 and none in the first half.
And Sapienza, the captain, starting off the second half for BC the way they started off the first, on the front foot, gets the shot off just a bit wide, but BC's showing that they are coming with a lot of energy once again in the second half.
And it has to feel like the way they've turned the ball over that you gain some confidence from it. I think that was the most noticeable thing with the style that Chris Watkins plays, and you can speak to this as a former player. Sometimes when you really have a belief and a trust in the new system, even if it's new and you see it working, it allows you, especially when there's an aggressive system, to really play aggressively but confident with that aggressiveness, and it feels like Boston College is at that point with the press.
Exactly. When a new coach comes in, you have to buy into their system. You have to buy into what they are preaching to their players. And when you do that and you can see even the smallest bit of results, as you saw in that first half, winning the ball back, creating chances, you want to buy into it even more. And we are seeing that from BC, not just today, but for most of the season.
Well, turnover at midfield for Carissa Beckman. And the Seminoles had to work the offensive side for the first time, right to the edge of the box. It was Huff, then it was chipped on. Huff trying to get back into position against Ava Lung, who still stays in, playing on the back line for Boston College. Again, with some injuries to the formation today. Remember, BC is down Bella Douglas and Sid Segala today, plus Goldthwaite left the game in that first half on an apparent injury and has not yet returned.
And it was Goldthwaite that started at that left back position. We saw Lung transition from striker to left back, and now there's a little bit of a switch with Lung coming to right back and Costello, the senior captain, going to left back.
You wonder if that's Quarter, the more veteran of the 2 center backs, to match up with Lung, who's playing out of position on the backside, and then put Costello with more veteran experience on the other side. Lung plays it across, looking for Streisig. They couldn't quite connect on it.
I think, once again, that's another reason why Lung is out there as a right-footed attacking player. You see her getting forward, putting a good cross into the box, and that also just allows her to have more freedom to show her attacking abilities in a more comfortable way.
Well, certainly the first 3 minutes of this half have belonged to the Eagles. Now it's shooting Florida State 4-3. Forward for Washington. Washington moves to the right against Lung. And a sliding play by Quarter to get it out of the box for the moment. And here is Paige Peltier, who started the game, subbed out midway through the first half, back in. Andy Barth also stays out on the pitch as well. Streisig, lead ball forward too far. But the Eagles are trying.
And once again, this first half mirroring the second half mirroring what we saw in the first half with BC coming out, but then we saw Florida State get into the game a little bit more. So you're gonna expect Coach Penske to want his team to once again get on the ball, have some possession, and exploit the space that BC gives up.
Andy Barth comes back to get the ball. Pressure there from Florida State, forced that pass wide. And EY on the throw-in for Huff. Work by Washington, draws the corner. Fifth corner of the day for Florida State.
And good work from Long defensively, just staying with the attacker, stride for stride, and it's never easy switching from an attacking position to a defensive position mid-game, but so far she's imposing herself and just showing all the experience she carries with her for this BC team.
EY lower ball this time. Comes back out wide. Dantas throws it back in. Dre was there. Streisig can keep possession of it. It's Huff. Throws cross field. Win is over there. But Costello with an aggressive defensive play, and it's knocked out to the far side.
And we're seeing a lot of numbers back for BC. You saw there the ball gets put up, and it's only Richards up top, a lone player anywhere near the ball for BC. So you're seeing Florida State push them back a little bit more these last couple minutes.
The ball is knocked out to the near side. You heard Brian Penske just say to his team, let's go a little slower so we can control things a little more. Gilchrist steps up. Got it to Huff. Feels like already we've seen Florida State try to get the ball to Huff a little bit more.
And that's exactly what they need to do. That is your key player in the midfield. That is your playmaker who's come in time and time again with goals and assists for you this season.
Space on the opposite side, but it's chipped wide. Lara Dantas, the freshman, was in the area with some space, but once again, a shot that's not on goal in this game.
And Dantas possibly had a little time there, could have taken the ball down, but once again, Florida State maybe rushing a little bit in the attack with some of these shots, and they are a team that likes to get forward, have a lot of shots on goal, but they're going to need a little bit more quality if they're going to threaten the BC goal tonight.
Streisig trying to get it into the box. There's Dre who steps up on it. And back to Costello. We don't have the possession isn't kept on the live stats, so that we'll only be able to access at the end of the game, but it feels like after it was 68-32 Florida State in the first half, it's been much closer to even, maybe even in favor of Boston College so far in the second half.
And I think that is credited to BC's fast start to the game of Florida State, once again, easing into the game a little bit more, getting more opportunities as the half goes on.
Huff, good ball forward. Dudley's chance goes! And how quickly things turn. Jordan Dudley gives the Seminoles a 1-0 lead.
And when you have a player as dangerous as Jordan Dudley, all she needs is a little bit of space to be absolutely clinical. And that's what we see here. And it's Huff. We talked about her needing to get into the game. She feeds Dudley space on the right side and just a clinical finish that we've seen time and time again from her over her Florida State career.
You can see that's where sometimes when you push forward, you can be exposed back. Florida State had not been able to take advantage of that. so far today, but they do here. And Jordan Dudley with their 3rd goal of the season. That's 9 points now for last year's All-ACC first-team selection of the Freshman of the Year. In game number 6 of the season for Dudley. And the Seminoles have a 1-0 lead. They have dropped just the 1 game when scoring first. That, of course, was last time out to Virginia Tech, who scored 3 in the final 15 minutes to pull the upset.
And now if you're BC, how do you respond? You need to be quick. The first 5 minutes after a goal is scored are so important for both teams. And BC needs to be strong and make sure that they do not allow Florida State to get any momentum.
Streisig, corner of the box. Goes wide for Costello, who is tied up. And possession of Florida State. Sapienza forces a takeaway. And a wide ball for Andy Barth. Barth comes to it. Good positioning by EY. We started to say it in the first half. I mean, those 1v1 situations, when you have some of the most talented players in the country like Florida State does, you really see it in those moments. Flags up here against the Seminoles.
And EY especially, such a talented two-way player. 5th year from Florida State, and she was a starter on that national championship team last year. Does such a great job of not just adding to the attack, but never forgets her defensive responsibilities again. And that's just always going to be such a tough battle in those 1v1 moments.
We start from Grace Quarter with the Seminoles 1-0. 46 consecutive matches with a goal for Florida State, extending their program best streak, which dates back to 2022. Dudley goes wide with it while being knocked down. They allowed advantage to play out, though, but the foul was called on that push with Dudley going to the turf.
And we talked about what Florida State needed to do to be successful. One of those things was getting Huff on the ball, getting Dudley on the ball. And those two players, we've called their names so many times already in the second half. They link up on the goal. And when you are a team like Florida State, when you are in a 2-game losing streak, you look to your key players to make big plays. And that's exactly what Huff and Dudley have done so far in the second half.
So free kick for the Seminoles. Dantas. Oh, misdirection. Eagles defend it well. Richards thought about going forward with it. Instead, will play possession. Some space here for Lowenberg. And now Streisig. Cuts to the middle. Dudley taken out of the play by Quarter. And we might have our first card of the game here. It is indeed a yellow against Grace Quarter.
And we've seen a lot of confidence from Dudley since that goal. That's exactly what a goal does to you. She seemed to have a lot of space in this second half on the open field. And there, Dudley just such a tough player once she gets going. And Quarter fouling in midfield, getting yellow card.
So quick on that. Just can go and advance so quickly in one step. That it forces you to play from behind, and that was the situation there. EY couldn't get it beyond Ava Lung. And playing slightly out of position in a right back spot. Long, who played the last couple of years with Harvard, two-time captain of the Crimson, before coming in for her grad year to Boston College. Crimson, who made the NCAA tournament each of the last 2 years. Here is Long, chips it on. Nobody there.
And great work from BC there on the attack. Richards here with a little pirouette on the midfield, plays it out to Long. And we've seen that a couple times now from Long. Obviously, a different look to Castell on this right-hand side as she's more of a natural attacker. So we've seen her get forward a little bit and expect, as BC looks for a tying goal, for them to give Long a little bit more freedom to get further up the field.
Richards tried to come back to it. And Santon was there first. And Spring Dantas for Dudley. Gives it right back. Quarters there. The defensive play by Grace Quarter. Settled for Peltier. Sapienza now. And that's one of those that you understand Boston College trying to go quickly and trying to find something, but tough one to find its way through on a low percentage shot.
Yeah, speculative there from Sapienza, but just trying to catch the goalkeeper off guard, seeing what she can make happen. And sometimes those you can find some luck and they go in. But once again, BC doing a decent job since conceding that goal, pressing Florida State back, getting numbers forward. We've seen Richards especially do a great job of holding the ball up and really drawing in defenders around her to provide for her teammates. So they're going to need a lot more of that if they want to get that tying goal.
It's 1-0 Florida State. The goal scored in the 53rd minute by Jordan Dudley. Seminoles trying to end their 2-game losing streak. More time down this end of the field here. Dantas taken off though. And Richards again cuts across field, and this time it's the trailer Lung. Chip for Barth. Barth got to her right foot with some space and sets up. It should be the first corner of the game for Boston College.
And you see the comfort from having an attacking-minded player like Lung in the back line, driving forward. You saw Peltier want the ball to feet, but Lung just kept going forward, plays it out wide to Barth, and the corner kick now for the BC Eagles.
Andy Barth, another one on this senior and veteran Boston College roster. So Aislinn Streisig, who has scored clean on a corner this year. He's taken most of them for Boston College. With the Eagles down 1-0. First corner of the game for BC. It's wide. It bounces. Peltier ended up behind her. It finds Quarter, who can't get it on goal. BC will sub here. Natalie Grossa will come in, and Florida State with the sub as well. Gianna Riley in for the Seminoles. Riley, who is a transfer from Gonzaga, of course, played for Chris Watkins the last few years. She was an all-WCC first-team selection last year and played along with Grace Quarter, who she stands right next to.
And that's definitely a battle they've had many times in training. I'm sure a couple of words are exchanged before the game right now and will be after the game. I know, always a great feeling to play against former teammates, and you want to get the best of them.
And it's a good move by Riley. The setup wide, Grossa just into the game, matches her 1v1, and it's out for a throw. Grossa, the first year from San Francisco, playing in her 5th game. Again, the Eagles are down a couple of players in that spot. Bella Douglas out today, who normally starts as one of the backs. And then Baylor Goldthwait, who's a midfielder who's playing in that spot. Had to leave the game earlier due to injury. Streisig couldn't save that, so it's corner.
And that just shows you the trust that Coach Watkins has in Grossa. Coming in as a freshman, hasn't played too much this season, but putting that trust in a big game against a top team.
Corner kick number 6 for Florida State. Got a head on it, but Taylor Huff couldn't get it on goal. Feels like the Seminoles have actually been able to play maybe even a touch freer since they took the lead in this game.
And I think once again it goes down to the confidence of the players. You want your big players stepping up, and there's a lot that happens when you get that goal, that freedom, that confidence. And from players like Dudley and Huff to have that is massive for this Florida State team.
Here's Streisig with a little bit of room. Pass had to be behind because Seminoles defense did a pretty good job coming out and marking. And now Florida State on the counterattack with Riley in the middle. Gonna lead Beckman.
And Riley, already a couple clean touches since coming in. A bit difficult for her coming in as a transfer from Gonzaga, getting a couple games and immediately leaving for the U20 World Cup. So this is a talented player that scored a lot of goals at Gonzaga, first team all WCC for them. And if you're Coach Penske, I'm sure you don't think you've even gotten the best out of her yet. So to get her into the game and hopefully really get going for Florida State is going to be massive for them heading later into the season.
Ava McNeil comes back in for Boston College to give Streisig a blow. And on the other side, it's Ashlyn Puerta in for EY.
And you saw both those players, Streisig and EY, combine on that last play. And EY tracking back has played a lot of minutes, not just this game, but this season as well. So she's getting a little bit of rest for her.
Remember, still free subbing in the second half on the women's side. Out for a throw, 25-30 remaining. A 1-0 Florida State lead.
And now with that yellow card, it's interesting. You have both center backs from each team, the key defensive players, Gilchrist and Corder, now both with yellow cards. So interesting to see how that plays out the rest of the game.
You can see the tug on the jersey, so an obvious call. And a free kick for Corder. This one's in deep, looking for a header. McNeil follows it up, and it's cleared out. Gilchrist had to make a save just ahead of the goal line.
Dangerous ball into the box for BC. A lot of bodies right in front of Todd in goal. It's Corder who gets it. Great ball, and just a lot of bodies there, and it's Gilchrist in the right position. Doesn't look like the ball had enough momentum to go in the back of the net, but the U20 World Cup defender could take no chances.
Gilchrist so solid as the main center back for Florida State. Another sub for BC, Delaney Van Pelt is in. Again, just her 4th game of the season. So BC having to go a little bit deeper down the bench today without Douglas, without Goldthwait since the first half, and without Sagala today.
And back to Gilchrist as well. We saw her the past couple seasons play alongside Lauren Flynn, a top defender for Florida State. Now as a junior, she's a leader in that back line. She was missed while she was out at the U20 World Cup, but she's back and expect her to play the bulk of minutes the rest of the season.
McNeil, it's knocked out. Another sub for Florida State. Marianela Jimenez is in for Dantas. 53rd minute goal by Dudley. Her third of the season is the difference right now. Was trying to knock off Florida State for the first time since 2018.
And there's absolutely no need to panic right now if you're BC. You've seen they've been able to get into the Florida State half. They've already employed a system that allows them to get numbers forward and force Florida State into mistakes. So it's only when we get into the very later stage of the game, maybe you question whether or not there has to be a little bit of change. But right now, they need to just keep on creating those chances when they see fit.
And a card here comes out. Andy Barth committing the foul.
And just a quick move by Simmons, and legs get tangled with Barth. It seems as though the ref has set a little bit of a precedent where fouls are going to get carded. You saw that with that challenge that Gilchrist had. It was her first foul of the day, and you give her the yellow card. So that's the ref saying, if you foul, if it seems like the other player is getting by, you are likely to get a yellow card, which is sort of a dangerous precedent to set in a match like this.
Well, it's the third card in the game. All of them have been in this second half. Towards the box again. Huff got a piece of it, but again, not quite on goal.
And a couple times now, Huff has gotten free on these set piece opportunities, not quite able to corral the header on net, but BC has to be a little bit wary that a player that has a knack for scoring goals is finding open spaces on these set pieces.
Huff, who came in 7th in the ACC in shots. Florida State as a team, as we said, 3rd nationally in shots, averaging more than 22 a game. Today, just 6 of them so far. Wide for Wynn. Played across well, but Riley again couldn't quite get it on goal.
And good work in the midfield once again from Jordan Dudley. Plays it out wide to Wynn, and you see her just try and stand the ball up to the back post. Riley's there, but just a little bit high from her. It's always rising. But once again, Florida State showing that confidence they've had since scoring the goal.
By the way, Florida State's season low in shots is 8, which happened twice this year against Florida, and then most recently in the loss to Wake Forest a week ago Thursday. Just 1 shot on target for the Seminoles in the game. Their season low was 3, which happened 3 times this year in each of their last 2 games. So that has been a factor a little bit here recently. Having just 7 total now in their last 5+ halves of soccer.
And I think that's why, like Coach Penske said, a little bit of a change in emphasis for them coming to this game. You have Van Zanten and Simmons playing in a back 3 alongside Gilchrist. Those are 2 players that have played a lot in the offensive end, both in their college and youth careers. So you're having players in the back line that like the ball at their feet, that can push forward because he sees a space where they can create more chances.
Puerta got around Grossa. There's room here for Puerta. Wide for Riley. Good play by Costello.
And just good defending from Costello once again, just standing up Riley, not budging, making sure that the talented forward doesn't get any chances.
Florida State, by the way, has not won a match this year when scoring only 1 goal. Fewest goals in a win was 2 against Villanova, a 2-0 win back on September 1st. Then again, they don't have many matches where they only score 1 goal. This happened 3 times this year, well, 1 and 2. Dre over top for Richards. Not sure if Richards would have been onside or not. Seminoles clear to center. And Quarter back to get it.
Good work from Quarter there. Jordan Dudley tracking her down. One mistake and you have the forward through on goal, but experienced play from Quarter to shield Dudley off and play it back to the goalkeeper.
Inside, Ash. Inside, Ash.
Barth stays in. And eventually did not, though. Still just one goal on the board from Jordan Dudley.
And Dudley, we highlighted her before the game, back from U20 World Cup, has now scored or assisted in all 3 matches since she's been back. She has not missed a beat, and she has Florida State ahead in this match.
Ash, inside. Ash, inside. Not lower, just inside.
Yeah. 18 minutes to go. 1-0 Florida State. McNeil stepped up on it, forced out wide. BC throw. You're still seeing nothing drastically different from what Boston College is trying to do so far, still down a goal.
And I think that's fine for now. They're still creating chances. They're still trying to get the ball forward. Maybe they haven't had as much of that wing play as we've seen earlier and forcing those mistakes from the first half and early on in the second half. But for now, they are still having opportunities like this from set pieces and still asking questions of Florida State.
Quarter, remember she can serve into the box from here, did so earlier. Looking for somebody, Lowenberg finds it, then Sapienza towards the net, open on the backside. Van Pelt was there and couldn't quite get it in beyond the Florida State D.
And it looked like maybe Van Pelt just hesitated a little bit, didn't go to the ball, waited the ball to come to her, and just fantastic work from Gianna Riley down the left wing.
Excellent slide by Quarter. Sprung the Eagles for a moment, but Huff is back into the play to settle once again for Florida State.
And just the 2 Gonzaga transfers for either side going at it again. Once again, I'm sure they've had those battles in training. It was Riley getting by a couple defenders, but her old teammate, Quarter, turned into a foe.
What an ad that was for Chris Watkins to bring in Quarter in that center back spot. Experience with his system and just experience, period.
And that's exactly it. We see it so many times in the college game when a coach comes and brings a player with them, and a player that can come in who can lead the back line and also help her new teammates know exactly what the coach wants from them.
Flag was up on the far side. Let's go back to this last opportunity for BC.
And the ball in from Quarter beats everyone, goes by, and once again, it falls to Van Pelt. Looks like she waits a little bit and just able to be cleared out.
Gilchrist again got a piece of that. Well, same story in the Florida State side, right? Taylor Huff started her career at Tennessee with Brian Penske. As did Cameron Simmons in this year, and Claire Rain, who was an all-SEC freshman at Tennessee, recruited by Brian Penske, has not played yet this year. Bunch of subs in here. Hudson comes back in. We saw her have an impact late in that first half. EY back in as well for Florida State. And on the Boston College side, Lung returns, Streisig returns, Peltier returns.
And multiple players coming back into this game who are key players for their team, who were dangerous early on in the match. Streisig probably been BC's best attacker on the day, and Hudson had that goal that was called offside. So a couple dynamic attackers back into the fray for both sides.
Florida State quickly back. Jimenez lunges too high.
And Jimenez just had a lot of space in the midfield there. You see just not a lot of pressure on her. Lowenberg comes a little bit late, but just shot always rising once again. And another shot from Florida State that you just can't find to get on target.
Knocked out on the near side. Out on the near side to Florida State. At what point, if you're Boston College, do you start to think about changing some of what you're doing here down a goal?
I think it's interesting because the system they play is already inherently very offensive. You have 4 players that tend to always stay higher up the field. So the one real change you can make is maybe move a player from the back line into the attack. You have Ava Lung back there who is naturally more of an attacking player. So maybe push her a little bit higher and play direct. I think one thing that BC could really take advantage of in the offense is size. You have a lot of taller players who can win headers and flip them on. So if they do decide to go down that route, last couple of minutes, that's where they might have some success.
Goal kick for Villebrandt after that Hudson try. It was too high of the net. Shots still in favor of BC, 9-7 overall, 3-1 shots on target. The only one on target for Florida State found the back of the net in the 53rd minute. Jordan Dudley's 3rd goal of the year. 17th her career with Florida State.
And we're seeing Coach Pensky keeping her on the field. We saw her come out for a little bit in that first half, but he wants her to stay on the field. She's been dangerous throughout.
A lot of space here. Puerta is stopped by Villebrandt. Rebounds there, and she comes out to get it ahead of Hudson. We saw a similar look earlier where that much space did not end up being there. This time it was there for Puerta.
And Puerta cutting in from that left wing back position as a right footer. Has a lot of space, but just right at the goalkeeper.
Dudley back on it for Hudson, is stopped by Villebrandt. Went over the goal line for a corner. Best save of the game for Vivka Villebrandt.
And your captain stepping up when needed. Jordan Dudley just in her groove tonight since that goal. Sets up Hudson. Maybe she could have put it a little further away from Villebrandt, but take nothing from the save. That is a huge moment from the senior goalkeeper from Germany.
So corner kick number 7 from Florida State. It's Puerta. Gilchrist goes to track it down. Seminoles will reset. Now even in shots and up 1-0 in the game. Back into the box. Quarter got a header. Still alive. Hudson turns a shot that stopped.
And Hudson, once again, dangerous since coming on.
She's made an impact. It hasn't played a ton today, but in the last few stages of the first half, last couple of minutes here of the second half, he's certainly noticeable up front. Brianna Hudson.
And I think that's just something that is very typical of the Seminoles. They have so many attacking pieces. You have Hudson, Dudley, Suarez, who we haven't seen today, all score so many goals this season. So just so many different pieces on this team.
Hudson maybe has another chance, but the flag is up. You see both sides of it as a freshman, right? It's been called for the offside a couple of different times today, but also see her ability up front.
And once again, you know, you're looking at 2 players right now up top with Hudson and Dudley. That's a sophomore and a freshman. So that's a duo that maybe ACC defenses are going to have to see for a very long time.
4th time the Seminoles have been called offside. Over top again for Hudson. Flag stays down this time. No, it does not. Offside again. That one looked a little bit closer to me.
And Coach Penske not liking that call. And like you said, a couple times now, Hudson has been called offsides. Can't quite see it from that angle, but just causing a lot of danger. And when you have two players that love to get in behind defenses and cause problems, BC last couple minutes, Hudson and Dudley causing a lot of headaches for them.
BC to throw, 9:20 remaining. Jimenez. Huff lets it come in behind her and leads EY. And EY against Costello. The All-American Huff retreats into the box, looking for Hudson again. Villebrandt wins the ball. Under 9 to go. 1-0 Florida State.
And I think now we're starting to get into the point where maybe you'll see what little tactical changes Coach Watkins has, maybe pushing a player forward, maybe going more direct. But so far, BC been under a little bit of pressure these past couple minutes from Florida State.
Huff got a lot of space. Got it in. What a great play. Dudley! Quarter is there to answer it. That is such a skilled play by Huff to wait, to find where the opening is with multiple defenders around her and give this chance.
And just a lot of patience from Huff. Maybe you thought she could have had a shot a little bit earlier, but wait, plays Dudley in, and the first touch got the ball into the position she needed to. Couldn't quite get the second one under control. But those two have really been giving BC a lot of problems since that goal.
EY. And now Sapienza. Richards, good move, leads Sapienza. And is knocked off. Foul goes against Cameron Simmons. Free kick coming up for Boston College.
Did look like there was just two players coming together. Not sure there was too much contact there, but it's a tough one when you have two players going full speed at it, and great chance for BC.
Looked pretty good, just maybe that last moment that left arm comes out a little bit, but. So an important chance for BC with 6:44 left. Don't know how many of these are left against the team the level of Florida State. Streisik, service, that was well off.
You see BC, multiple numbers right at the top of the box, trying to pin Florida State in, want them to hit it long so they can win it back and get it right back at them.
Florida State can take as much time as they want here, and they do so. Sapienza against Huff. Dudley, stopped by Quarter. Slide maybe came a touch early, and Dudley's back the other way. Hudson gives it right back. Dudley again is stopped! Another chance for Hudson to reset, and from deep, that missed wide from Beckman. Oh boy, another great chance for Florida State.
And Jordan Dudley showing why when she is on, she is one of the premier players in college soccer. Initial great turn from her, give and go with Hudson, and then Villebrandt, once again, fantastic save, has come up with a couple huge stops for BC in the second half.
Fifth save of the game for Vivka Villebrandt, giving her team a chance. By the way, remember we talked about the shots, the shot total, and for the longest time, Florida State had just the one shot on target. They've basically had 5 here on target in the last, 10 minutes of this game, and now up 14-9 in shots. Florida State's had the last 7 shots of this game, and those 7 have really been, I think it's like the last 8 minutes or so.
And if you're Florida State, you wish this game could be extended by a couple, 10, 30 minutes, because their attackers are just finding their groove now as the game is coming to its end.
And that kind of fits in with what Brian Penske told us at halftime, right? A little bit of a different shape today. It's taken a little while to get adjusted to it. Eagles trying to find an equalizer. Streisig is going to get back on it. Switches to her left foot. Service in. Gilchrist got a piece. Still in a dangerous area. Richards leaves it over for Andy Barth. EY's right there, and EY makes a great play.
And we've seen that battle, Barth versus EY, a couple times, and we talked about it. EY, experienced player, 5th season, a player that has seen it all in college soccer, and just such a tough defender to get by.
Coming up on just 4 minutes remaining. Oh boy, we got to check on everybody here. That is contact up high. 2 players going for the ball, obviously. It's Ava Lung in there on the BC side, and trainers will come out. Dudley was there for Florida State.
And hoping both players are able to get up. You saw Lung get up right away, hoping she's okay. Dudley just getting looked at by the trainers.
I think they're getting ready to give a card.
It looks like they called the foul on Dudley, actually. Coach Penske on the field, not happy about that one.
His argument is going to be Dudley's the one on the ground, but
interesting to see as well. He's walked all the way onto the field. 4th official trying to call him back. And looks like we'll get another opportunity for BC to get the ball into the box.
Because the trainer came out, Dudley has to come off the field, though can enter right away. Lung will do the same.
And it does look like Lung gets there first. It is her head that touches the ball and Dudley's head that goes into Lung. So obviously unfortunate play with both players going down hard, but it does seem like that was the right call in the end and a dangerous opportunity for BC.
So the clock stopped there, 4:02 remaining. Lung and Dudley can both re-enter here as soon as the ball is back into play.
Hey, there's plenty of time to get our player back on so we can defend. There's plenty of time so we can get our player back on.
Quarter entrance. Good play by Addie Todd. Lung and Dudley enter once again. They were waiting for the moment.
And what a moment there, the 2 number 11s rushing to get into the play.
Pass was short for Hudson, and Costello steps up right in the middle of the field. Eagles down by 1 with 3:40 to go against the defending national champs. Possession of Florida State.
We see here Quarter gets the ball into the box and just almost a number to it, but punched out. And Addie Todd, good play from the sophomore goalkeeper from Colorado.
Off the restart. 3 minutes to go. Dudley, the goal scorer today.
Florida State just trying to waste time in the corner, doing a good job of it. so frustrating when a team does do that, but that is exactly the way you burn down the clock and secure a win.
And they are certainly experienced at winning. The defending national champs, 46-5-6 in 3 seasons under Brian Pensky.
I was stopping the clock. Why is the clock stop?
Back for Gilchrist. Oh, good ball from Hudson, but flags up.
And you could see that Hudson was behind the play when it started. Great header from her, but like we talked about a couple times, offside now, and a chance for BC with 2 minutes left to get a chance.
See if they start to press forward a little bit more. Shorter ball for Lung. Eltier. More in the midfield. Dre can't quite get it through. Onside this time. Huff is way out. Huff gets in behind Villabrandt, but couldn't keep possession. As Costello plays it out wide. No foul called with 1:28 to go. But the Seminoles up a goal with possession.
Florida State coaches calling for a foul. I think if Huff goes down there, the ref has a lot of questions. Maybe it goes to VAR, but maybe almost a little bit too honest from Huff there, staying on her feet.
And now going to try to play it to the corner. Veteran play with 1:09 to go, out off of Florida State.
And here you see it once again, Dudley and Huff, the 2 players, and doesn't seem like Villabrandt gets a touch on it. So good from Huff to stay on her feet, and a minute here, can BC get a chance?
They stopped the clock because BC went quickly. It actually probably helped them because they were able to just throw it in, but it's still stuck in the corner here with 50 seconds to go. Tight area, Hudson against Dre. BC find possession out of this sequence. Streisig to throw. Got it ahead, too far on the throw for Richards. Bounces for Peltier, 30 seconds to go. Trying to get it across field to Sapienza. Now Quarter, skyward for Sapienza. It's in behind her. And Florida State sends it up the pitch with 18 seconds remaining. Knocked out for Jimenez.
And I think Quarter a little bit lucky there on the yellow card. Looked like that might have been a foul, but goes out for the throw in.
It's going to do it.
Clock runs down.
So Florida State comes to Newton and ends its 2-match losing streak. Back in the win column as the Seminoles take down Boston College 1-0.
And the story of the game is Florida State coming to life in the second half.